Guys, chasewins.com. Monday, February the 17th, back in action today, and we'll get you on a free play. We're going to do multiples, but they're going to be more of, pretty big lean stuff that I'm, either just missed the card or maybe that I'm holding off for a certain reason, and we'll get into that. But let's get into a recap from yesterday, and then obviously you did not see me yesterday. Daytona 500 action. Unfortunately, it was postponed after 20 laps, but an experience to say the very least. Obviously, I've been there before for the July race back, years back, but the whole experience was just incredible, and I don't know if I'm necessarily becoming a fan of the sport. I still am not very intrigued by the sport itself, but maybe that's just my personal preference for the sports that do heavily interest me. But I'll tell you this, great fan base. I put some stuff on Twitter yesterday as far as I think I'm becoming a certified redneck now, being that now I have been accepted in by the NASCAR community. But it was great, and there's going to be a lot more of that this year involving Patrick. Obviously, you guys know he's back for the 2020 season. You can still if any of the people that are on NASCAR or purchased NASCAR for yesterday, make sure you keep your wagers in. Double check with your books to ensure that they did not cancel your wagers in any way. I wouldn't assume that they would, but there are books out there that have been known in things like that, whether it be horse racing or NASCAR, that when something gets postponed and pushed back a full day, that they basically void the bets and you have to go in and re-enter them. And they do that without notice because things may change, lines may go up, and then you don't realize it and then log in, and now you're having to risk more money. So it's like in the email I sent out last night when it got postponed, just confirm that all of your wagers are still in. And if you are with any accredited book or you placed yours at a ticket counter in a casino, then you won't have anything to worry about. So that's that. We had, Patrick had 3 selections on his head-to-head yesterday, and then his 5-person race card for the race winner. So that race resumes today at 4 or 4:30. One of the two, but that can't wait to see the outcome of that. Some huge plus money driver selections on that card, ranging anywhere from a plus 900 all the way up to, I think we're up into the plus 3,200 range. So a very, very, very profitable potential for this card, even though it is the Daytona 500 and there are so many unknowns. I put my faith in him, but without getting into too much detail, obviously my clients know because my assistant sent out a mass email last night letting everyone know that a deal that has been in the works for a while now involving a big player in basically just the gambling world. I mean, a player just as big, if not bigger than MGM, has been doing some deals with certain brands and companies that you may or may not know, certain brands that I heavily rep. I'm not going to make it any more obvious than what I possibly can. And then going in and buying and partnering with sports, opening casinos, sports books, everything. And they've started to target NASCAR because it was easy. NASCAR needed a boost. So back in November, Patrick and myself both being consultants by trade for, 30 plus years experience between the both of us, and a lot of it being in the sports world, we came up with a game plan to how can we promote it, grow the sport, be involved that would benefit our customers without being tied to any sports book whatsoever. Having some new wagering models, lower risk, higher reward, something to keep the bettors coming back and get them intrigued into the sport, put more asses in seats, everything. And I think when we finally closed the official deal, we went down there yesterday, and the turnout was absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw it on TV. The turnout was insane. Got to meet with some great people. And some big things in the works. Finally got paperwork signed, and there will be affiliation that I can't speak of yet and say the names until obviously I get given the thumbs up to do so, depending on how they want to approach the release of certain things. But we will be the only and the biggest player when it comes to NASCAR wagering starting at some point this season to help promote the fan base of NASCAR betting, and which will then in turn hopefully grow the sport. Obviously, we'll have no allegiance to who you bet with. We don't care what book you use. That's your choice. But just kind of having an influence on what is out there for you to bet, more things that are available that will allow you to make even more money, that will draw interest in for the people that maybe aren't ready to hire a consultant to give them NASCAR advice, but get them intrigued, let them get started, see what it's all about, and then realize that when they hire the right consultant, which I think that it's been proven that nobody that bets this sport has, they can't come close to Patrick. They're not even in the same zip code. They might give out one head-to-head matchup on a race that's involving Kyle Busch, the best racer in the game, and a 2-year rookie that's yet to win something. Well, that's really difficult to say that Kyle Busch is going to outperform him. The things that Patrick does, multiple head-to-heads every week, top plays, driver selections, 36 races last year, 28 of which turned profit, 24 of which he predicted the outright winner of the race. It just doesn't get better than that. So being that we are at the forefront of that, and my name got pushed out there because of my baseball knowledge, everything just worked out. So really excited about that. And the deal is done on the horse racing person that we are bringing on. It is official. Paperwork has been signed. He will go public, and have his information and wagers ready for purchase and wagering in April, mid to late April, because I think that it's officially going to start before the Kentucky Derby and then run through everything they got. Again, I'm green to that. The golf deal that we were working on is still set to close next month, and we'll keep you informed on that unless something changes. So other than that, big weekend. Again, now this kind of shows why I've been MIA on video some days. Obviously, you guys know that I keep everything MLB very close to the vest, and I'm always working on huge stuff for that. That's not going to change. If something that I'm working on now goes through, there'll be a big announcement sometime mid-season. But we'll wait to see. I'm not going to release any hints about that, but being that the top MLB capper resides right here, and I've got the best NASCAR guy in the game, why not capitalize on both? And our next target is NHL. There's not another service out there that's come anywhere close. You can bet, team totals on the first period under all you want, or team total overs in the first 40 minutes, or whatever. You can bet whatever props you want. And say that is expertise in consulting, but until you go out there and hit upwards of 80% for an entire season on premium and even higher on top plays, betting nothing but full games, whether it be regulation or overtime included, and totals, I would say that you're not even in the wheelhouse. But so that's our next target. So we'll get going on that soon. So yesterday, great day in college basketball. One play drop, Northern Kentucky. I don't know what the hell their problem was. They got annihilated by Illinois Chicago. But we backed it up with Wichita State in a blowout. And then Wright State is a top play, which was, oh, my God. They were up over 50 at one point. So not bad for a 12-point spread. So that was easy, and we had a rare off day in hockey. Usually even when we have an off day, it's something that happens in 30 seconds and we split. But yesterday we lost, and it all happened towards the end. Everything was going the way it needed to for Carolina. They lost right there, and they couldn't put it through in regulation. They ended up falling in an overtime to Edmonton, and then Dallas ended up doing the same thing late, not being able to hang on and take care of a much inferior opponent. And then Vancouver, I don't know really what their thing was. They started off rough and Anaheim capitalized on it, and then they never took their foot off the gas. And I don't think that Vancouver ever really got their composure back, and so they got blown out. So it was a bad day in hockey. But you know what? I can say that with a smile on my face and confidence because it just doesn't happen often. It happens about as often as it happens in baseball. It'll happen every couple of weeks. We'll have a bad day, and then we back it up with, a week of no losing days and, a multitude of top plays. This week, there will be a game of the week and or game of the month in NHL. I don't know which one yet because there are 2 games circled. I'm not going to say which day because, again, there's 2 plays circled. They're both on different days. We'll see how they pan out once lines are released, but I do have a strong feeling that we will have a very big top play in those, and then NBA will kick off back yet again. We rounded out that first half of the season with 4 straight winners, so we'll get it kicked off as soon as it gets started back. We may not have plays in the first day or so, just seeing how teams start kind of getting acclimated back to changes that they've made, trades, and all that stuff, but we'll get back to it by this weekend. And then college basketball's rolling right along. As always, March Madness is upon us, so if you are not on a package, make sure that you get it. You can get a month pass for $2.99. That'll get you every premium and daily top play that I have in all sports, and it will carry you into the beginning of March Madness, and then you can go in and buy as you please after that. And then as soon as March Madness is over, guys, we're in baseball, and I cannot wait. So let's get on a free play, or a multi-free plays, I guess you could say. One of the games that I know people are wondering about is Kansas-Iowa State. As I've said all year, even before the season started, Ames, Iowa may be one of the biggest snake pits in all of college basketball. They can beat anyone on any given night with their backups when they're playing in Ames. On the road, they're just not a good team. Kansas was my preseason prediction for because people were asking me, who do you think is going to win it all? That's a very loaded question when you're talking about college basketball because of the way that the postseason, format is and your bracket systems and all that. The best team doesn't always win. Do I think Kansas is the best team in the country? Absolutely. I've thought that for most of the year. Even when Duke was ranked, higher than them in my rankings, I still said that I thought Kansas was the overall best team. Speaking of top 25, we'll review that on the live show tomorrow, the updated list. But as far as Kansas goes, yeah, I guess there's questions. Are they going to be looking ahead? Are they going to make adjustments to try to conserve anything for Baylor upcoming? And I don't know, maybe. That's the one thing that is keeping me from hammering this game because Kansas is better at every position. They're better rebounding offensively and defensively. And when we just talk about offense for Kansas, we're talking Kansas ranks number 1 in offense overall in all of college basketball. And just in offensive numbers alone, Iowa in my system ranks down at 131st. Do the math there. Plus, you're going to be playing in Lawrence, Kansas. This team, after the fight that they had and, discipline was handed down, they were wondering, is this going to be a turning point where Kansas falls off? They've had 3 or 4 years in the past 10 years where they have been the best team, at least going into the tournament, where they have not been able to, pull out what they needed to, and it's kind of like the Michigan State effect to some extent, but they don't have near as many one-and-dones as schools like that, so we'll see. I like Kansas today. They are the better team. Iowa has, they've been getting beat in conference left and right. They cannot beat ranked opponents, and I think their last 3 or 4 conference losses or their last 3 or 4 losses by ranked opponents, no matter how high or low they are ranked, if they are ranked nationally in the top 25, the lowest margin of defeat that that Iowa State has taken has been by 13 points. So I think laying 15.5 to 16, whatever you're getting it at, is good for a lean. Again, the only thing keeping me from hammering that bet is the fact that I don't know what the mindset of these younger players on this team are going to be thinking with Baylor, just waiting in the wings for them. All right, so there's one that I think let's get over into hockey. There's one game that's not going to be on the card, but I placed some fun money on The over in the San Jose Sharks and Florida Panthers game, over 6. The thing is, even though San Jose is a decent defensive team at home, and Florida isn't the most dominant offense anywhere, especially on the road, these two teams play, completely different style of offensive hockey. And it's a style that only a handful of hockey teams play, and it's teams that neither one of these squads have seen more than once this year. So I think that both of these teams can catch one another off guard at certain times of this game to get goals. I don't love the play, but if you were forced to play the total, I'd probably go over 6, maybe see if we can get it at 5.5. And if I was forced to take this game, I'd take the Panthers minus 140 on the road, as I do think that they are much better coached. I think that he sets his team. Guys, multiple Stanley Cup championships, coached one of the most dominant hockey teams ever. I just think that as long as Florida can stay in this game, in the later parts of it, he's going to set his team up for success more so than I trust San Jose State to do so. So that's my thoughts there. There's a couple of free leans. I'll give you an underdog that I like that I've already played that will be on my card. We are going to have 4 to 5 plays on the card today. All premium plays. We're going to flat bet across the board today, being that we have a short selection. I think St. John's at home catching 2 is the right play. I think a lot of people have written St. John's off because they've had some bad losses. In my opinion, I just think they've got unlucky, or they've been unlucky at times, versus actually going out there and losing the game because of a specific reason. Xavier, I think that they are sorely overrated. St. John's just blew Pepperdine out of the water, which is not an easy task by any means. So I think St. John's at home is going to be behind a rowdy crowd. I think they've got all the tools to not only hang with Xavier, I think that crowd will push them over the edge. And defensively, if they really want to run their full court press for the majority of the game, I think it's going to cause Xavier to turn the ball over because they are a turnover-prone team when really, really pressed. And if that's the case and you get that crowd behind them on a couple of fast breaks or steals for dunks, then that's going to allow St. John's to pull away, create some separation, and then at home it would be hard to believe that Xavier would come back from a double-digit deficit in the second period to win the game. So it's not a game that's a top play by any means, but it is a game that I have already wagered on. St. John's +2, take what you will with that. There is at least 2 more college basketball wagers, possibly even 3 that I'm going to have on the card. 1 NHL play for sure, possibly even 2. And all that will be up and posted by the time you see this. 7-day pass, $99. 3 days, $50. Or a month, $299. It'll get you into March Madness. All right, guys, let me know if you need anything. Chase at chasewins.com, and I will see you back for Tuesday's free play and the live show. Thanks.